and welcome to my cellar. If it looks a little different today, it's because it is. I'm doing this during the day, and there's probably a whole lot more light down here. So, yeah, I normally do these on Thursday night, and I just forgot. Probably because I was playing Age of Wonders 4. Boy, is that a rabbit hole to go down. I'm still learning. It's got a steep learning curve on it, even for having played the others. Okay, let's see. All right, well, the first one is about Lords of Magic. It's an absolute classic. I can't recommend it enough. My friends and I must have played hundreds of hours of it in the 90s. Now, okay, this is a game that this individual obviously has a great deal of respect and love for. But then he goes on to say, it's poorly balanced, easily cheesed, and has more than a few major issues, but in spite of all that, it's still an excellent game. I gotta admit, I don't understand how you can... I think those two... in my mind, those two statements are incompatible. And the commenter goes on about it's great world building in 8 nations, and death is one of the nations. Okay. For what you're telling me in this, I wouldn't classify as a great game that I'd want to go play. It obviously has a lot of meaning for you because you played it for hundreds of hours with your friends. We have to remember that those types of things often color our recollections and memories. All right, next one. Back to AI, and that's good because we need to keep talking about this and pay attention to it. AI could be used to correct or pad out human-generated writing. I saw an artist use the AI to make a sketch he drew look more realistic, improving his art. All right, I like the first one. I don't like the second one, personally. What is your take on writers using AI to improve their writings through correcting grammar and use better wordage? Same with art. Take a mediocre artist and use AI to improve his or her existing art they made. No. I'd rather people, this is the old teacher in me, I would rather that people learn to write better and use better wordage from experience, from a teacher, from a tutor, from classes they take, experience they get. However, that being said, there is a place. I mean, we've already got Grammarly, which is a step down that path, in my opinion. So if you can find something that's going to buff up your writing, if it helps you become a better writer, fine. If you aren't really a writer and you're depending upon this program, then you shouldn't put your name on it. Or you should share credit. I have a much more of a problem with an artist. Art is a talent. My opinions now. Art is a talent that you can develop and make better. You may be born with, or you may not have at all. I qualify in the last group. I can barely draw flies on a hot day, as the old saying went. I'm not an artist. Except I like to paint. I'm a pretty good painter. And I can paint little bitty things pretty well. But I'm not an artist. I can't take a pencil and a piece of paper and create something. I envy those who can. They have a talent that I wish I did, and that I wish I also had, and I don't. I don't. I don't know about an artist of mediocre talent. There has to be some spark of talent to begin with. I'm not comfortable with the idea of an artist of mediocre talent buffing something up through AI and then signing his name on the bottom. Just where I feel about it right now. Have you ever used the countdown concept in a game where players are working against a timeline of events that will unfold depending upon the PC's effect on the world and events in the background or foreground, hopefully? Relentlessly, as it were. If the players miss the 610 to Yuma, then they use, or 410 to Yuma, then they miss the 410 to Yuma. Think up a way around it. Doofuses. No, I haven't used it. I can see where it would be, could be a useful element. I could certainly see that. I'm not big on countdown movies. Well, Die Hard was pretty good. I gotta admit that. I started in the middle of my comments here, so I'm gonna have to come back. All right, that'll work. Okay, like I said, this is Friday morning, and I'm very disoriented. This is not my normal time to do this. I love looking at my players' faces as a DM when I ask them if they have character sheets. Then tell them the most important item the character sheet needs is not there. That thing is what's between your ears, creative problem solving. Stats alone will always save you. Plus, as a DM, I want to see the ideal bulb over their heads as we play. Hope you're well. Love the channel. Yeah, that's great. If you encourage at the very outset creative thinking, group thinking, I believe you'll have a much better result. When I run, the only games I run at cons, and has been for many years now, is my Wheel of Blame, and it's all about, oops, you missed the train, now what? And it's all about that, and that's the only reason I'm still doing it, is because I so enjoy watching a table full of people creatively solve problems in the settings of a role-playing adventure. All right, next question. In editing and laying out an RPG rule system, what is the most egregious or common error that game developers perpetuate? Too many people that want to be game developers don't research, and I'm not talking about, notepad or, clipboard crap. They don't assess whether or not their passion, the game design they want to do, is going to be as well received and well loved as they do. Oh, if I love it, everybody's going to love it. No, not true. There's many failed games, board games, role-playing games, video games, that wasn't the case. You have to have a hook, and whether that hook is a popular setting or a popular genre or something, you game designers don't. Bottom line, they don't play test enough. If they did play test enough, not with just their friends, because their friends may be very hesitant to give an honest opinion. If they play test it and play test it and play test it, and they're still getting positive results, then you probably have something. If you can't find play testers after the third play test because word gets around, not unheard by you, of course, that it's a dog, well, that ought to tell you, don't go any further. And laying out, they make all the same mistakes that we did. And I'm not responsible for the layout of the first three Little Brown books, nor Greyhawk. And I followed the mold with the ones that I did for TSR afterwards. And then somebody came along and took everything that was in there, in those books, rearranged it, just reorganized it, and lo and behold, there is a learnable game in there. That's a big watch out. Your rules and your layout have to be coherent and logical and easy to follow. What is your opinion on Troll Lords, Castles, and Crusades? I think it's a really well thought out game and system, and their siege engine combat mechanics is well worth looking at by any RPGer. And I happen to, good grace dictate that I happen to be, I consider both Steve and Davis to be friends, so I'm sure that colors it. But before I became friends with them, I knew of their game and had looked it over, and it was pretty good. The fact that Gary was good friends with them that's like a character reference to me. I know that Gary worked with them. I worked with them briefly. After Gary died, I took over a column for a magazine that they were publishing at the time, and they're good people. I think the game system's solid. I think the widow made the absolute worst possible, stupidest, most ignorant mistake possible when she pulled all the Castle Zygag off the shelves and let it die, because I thought it was a pretty interesting system, and it was an indication of where Gary's involvement, where Gary's evolution in design was going. But everyone knows she's a lunatic. What was Gary's relationship with him exactly? Well, I do know that it was close enough that for several years they came up from Arkansas and made happen the Lake Geneva Game Convention, two of which I went to before Gary died. And it was the Troll Lords that came up, and that attracted other people that wanted to come up, and it made it kind of like, well, it was a game convention. And I believe that they absorbed those expenses because of their friendship. But that's my opinion. Neither of them have told me that. So I guess that answers all your questions. Yeah, I was associated with them for a while. Do I have any opinion on the core fantasy role-playing SRD that Kobold Press and or Blackfire Collective have developed? It's an briefly, it's an up-to-date version of D&D 5e that is completely open license so that all third-party creators and companies can continue to sell and create for the community to no matter what Hasbro WotC does in the future. It's a noble concept. It's a noble concept, and if it gives would-be publishers, would-be creators and writers the confidence to go ahead and do what they want to do, then it's a good thing. Because some of those are going to be really, really good projects. Just like all the rest of the hobby. New games come out every year, and many of them sink back into the mire. That's good. If it gives creators confidence to work under that format, that's fine. Good thing. I don't. If I sell something to somebody, it's up to them to figure out how they want to do that kind of crap. I don't care. I think, if it's a way to get around the OGL or to set up a new function structure similar to the OGL, then I'm okay with it. At the present time, there's nobody to argue with it. They're not dividing the hobby on any great philosophical level, so go for it. All right. I wonder what your views are on games with almost no backstory. I played Mazes by 9th level at UK Games Expo. Loved it. I don't know that game. Character creation took under 5 minutes. Game starts at the door of the dungeon. To me, this sounds a lot like DCC or MCC funnel. They call them a funnel. You literally go in with a stack of character sheets with names on them. I mean, they're very, very rudimentary shapings of a character. And as they die, you simply discard them and, okay, Bob's next. I'm Bob. And whoever is alive at the end. I like those. It's kind of a catch-as-catch-can atmosphere. I like those, personally. I'm not familiar with Mazes by 9th level. I'm guessing that 9th level is a company. It doesn't work for a long campaign or a story arc, but it's an off-the-shelf, okay, what the hell? We're there to have fun. I can't stress that enough, and I keep stressing it over and over. All right, now, this is interesting. I watched the D&D movie, thumbs up. Same here. I just watched it at home after seeing it in the theater. Very rewatchable and fun movie. One I plan on getting on Blu-ray, in fact. So do I. But then it's kind of obvious that I have a vested interest. However, I can tell you that I don't know any. The only other gaming-related movie thing that I even own is Darkness Rising. And that's because I thought it was a hoot. Okay, a couple of things I want to talk about. I don't think some people understand exactly what Appendix N was and is. We were constantly besieged by people at cons. Where do you get these ideas? Where did you think that? And because it was so novel, it was so different, it was so way out of the box at the time. Where did you, how, yada, 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 yada. And we kept telling people, books, books, books. And, and finally we decided, okay, it's time to collate this. If people want to know where we got our ideas, what influenced us before even this was produced, here's Appendix N. These are all the things that we read. So, from these things that we read, we made this great goulash that became D&D. That was it. Too many people are, in my opinion, are trying to parse Appendix N. It was really just, hey, this is all the stuff we've read up to that point. We told people that we were trying to teach the game and the DM as a story creator. And, go read DeCamp, go read Sprague, go read Lynn Carter, go read this, go read that. And not for what we took out of it, but for the creation of the story and the continuity. I just think that Appendix N is not a writ of holy books. Appendix N is what we read prior to that time. This is where we drew our inspirations, whether they were straight out of a book like Ion Stones, or just caused us to mesh some things together and come up with that. That's what Appendix N was. Hi, this is what we read. In answer to the question, where do you guys think this shit up? How do you think this stuff up? There, Appendix N is what we read. Anybody that sits down and decides, I'm going to read Appendix N, every book, they're still going to come up with different interpretations when they set out to create a campaign. They may be influenced by only 3 books in Appendix N, or 17 of them. And you won't be able to parse them out because they'll have gone through that wonderful blender called a brain. All right. Now, a new product came on the market. Another licensed Dungeons and Dragons product. So, more money for the Hasborg. This is what it looks like. Try to get it out of the reflection. Okay. It's the Dungeons and Dragons Heroes Potion of Power. Really nice graphic printed on the front. Very exciting. Ooh. And there's another one that has the same look, called Heroes Potion of Power Energy Drink. One's loaded with caffeine and vitamins and stuff, herbs and spices. Secret herbs and spices. The recipe gotten from the Colonel. Anyway, I haven't tasted it. It's cherry lime. It's a flavor I happen to like, but I got someone sent me 2 cans. They are ludicrously priced. I can't see paying $6 or $8 for 2 cans of soda pop. And I don't know if it's any good. Now, I don't know what the price is on the caffeinated stuff. My point is that if the cans look pretty much the same, And small children see you sipping out of the soda pop one. And one morning afterwards, there's another one that looks like soda pop, except it's the energy drink. Do you want your 3-year-old running around with half an energy drink in him? If that's the case, that's bad marketing. Using the same name is unimaginative. Come on, Hasborg, you can do better. And that's all I got to do on this. I do brief ones like this because nobody gave me comments to talk about, and I rarely venture my own opinion on things unsolicited. However, the Appendix N and the energy drink was an exception to that rule. So if you're watching this, ask questions or comments so that I can talk about them again later, or it'll spur more gems of wisdom being unearthed in the muddy recesses of my mind. Dodata Gobi. Hello, and welcome to my cellar.
He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs. Still quite a feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Last man around when them rates went down. Called it Gary in that Lake Geneva town. Hey Gary, it's an awful mess. Let me edit, we'll have success. D&D and Dragon Magazine. He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Magic missile, it's a mortar shell. Make it hit in the first level spell. Brought psionics to the game to attack that wizard's brain. ESR and fantasy, collection of micro armory. Titan with tramp under a tree, high as could be. He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Curmudgeon.